Do you rely on that third cup of coffee just to get you to power through the afternoon? Is your child always on edge, wired, but worn out and struggling to focus during the day and unable to rest at night? You're not imagining it. What you're seeing is the effects of cortisol dysregulation, a state of chronic stress that's become so common it feels normal. This isn't just an adult problem anymore. More and more children are living in a constant state of fight or flight, and it's taking a serious toll on their ability to learn, to sleep, and thrive. What's worse is the solutions are often given are ADHD medications for our kids. Caffeine or energy drinks for ourselves. Can we actually reinforce the stress cycle instead of breaking it? It's time to understand what's really going on in the nervous system and start creating healing, not just coping. This video is for the exhausted parent, the one whose child is constantly bouncing between focus issues, hyperactivity, anxiety, or emotional outbursts, despite trying all the conventional routines with little lasting change. It's also for the parent who feels drained, overstimulated, and dependent on caffeine or the quick fixes just to function. We're going to unpack how modern life has locked both kids and parents into a relentless loop, fueling a real biological addiction to stress hormones like cortisol. You'll discover how this hidden cycle often disguises itself as ADHD or anxiety, and why common threats can unintentionally deepen the problem. And what can a neurological approach do to support lasting regulation for your child and you? The statistics are alarming. According to a recent data, ADHD diagnoses in kids have nearly doubled in the past 20 years, with stimulant prescriptions following suit. Yet these medications don't address the underlying neurological imbalance. In our practice, we constantly see families where both children and parents are caught in a stress cycle. The child is prescribed stimulants for focus issues while the parent relies on caffeine, creating mirror image patterns of the nervous system dysfunction. The connection becomes clear when we understand that many of these children experience some form of birth intervention or birth trauma, whether that be forceps, vacuum extraction, C-section, which can create the initial neurological imbalance that sets up this cortisol addiction from the start. Let's talk about cortisol addiction and how it's deeply connected to the autonomic nervous system. Cortisol addiction isn't an official diagnosis, but it's very real in terms of the physiological state. It happens when the body becomes dependent on stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to get through the day. These hormones, which are meant to help us respond to short-term stress, become the body's primary source of energy, focus, and motivation. To understand why this happens, we need to look at the autonomic nervous system, which controls the autonomic functions of the body. Things like heart rate, digestion, and hormone release. So this system has two main branches. It's going to be your sympathetic nervous system, which kicks in during stress and triggers the fight or flight response. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps the body go into rest, digestion, and restoring. Ideally, these two systems need to stay in balance. The sympathetic activation for short-term challenges and the parasympathetic for healing and recovery. But in cortisol addiction, the body gets stuck in sympathetic overdrive. The nervous system is constantly signaling that there's danger, even when there isn't any. This leads to a continual release of stress hormones, and over time, the body starts to rely on the flood of cortisol just to feel normal. This is how stress response is meant to protect us in emergencies becomes our everyday operating system. It's a vicious cycle, one that affects energy, mood, focus, sleep, and honestly, long-term health. How birth trauma can set the stage for cortisol addiction. Many parents don't realize the stress cycle can begin early as birth. Interventions such as forceps, vacuum extractions, C-sections, or inductions, while sometimes necessary, can create physical stress on the newborn's nervous system. This area is incredibly delicate and it plays a vital role in regulating the body's function. These birth-related stressors can lead to what's known as a subluxation. This is going to be when there's tension that disrupts communication within the nervous system. When this interference affects the vagus nerve and the surrounding brainstem structures, it can immediately push the baby's nervous system into a state of sympathetic dominance or fight or flight mode. We're not meant to live in long-term fight or flight. At first, this imbalance may show up as colic, reflux, sleep disturbances in infants, but as children grow, it often affects challenges that are going to deal with focus, hyperactivity, mood swings, emotional regulation issues, symptoms that are frequently labeled as ADHD or anxiety. Modern lifestyle factors that keep the stress cycle going even beyond birth today make it incredibly easy for the stress cycle to continue, especially for the developing nervous system. Our kids are surrounded by constant stimulation, screens that emit blue lights, which trigger cortisol production, processed foods that spike and then crash the blood sugar are huge, schedules that are absolutely packed to the max that don't allow for rest and true recovery. For a child whose nervous system is already dysregulated, this environment only makes things worse. They may seek out more stimulation. They're going to ask for more screens. They're going to want more sugar. They're going to seek more of those impulse behaviors. And not just for fun, but because their brain is literally craving dopamine and cortisol, and it's grown dependent upon it. And parents, you are often stuck in the same loop. Caffeine to wake up, screen time to wind down, schedules that never stop. It becomes a family-wide pattern of sympathetic dominance, where everyone is functioning in survival mode, not thriving. The medication trap, why it often backfires when kids show signs of nervous system dysregulation, trouble focusing, emotional swings, hyperactivity. The go-to solution is often a stimulant medication like Adderall or Ritalin. While these drugs can temporarily improve focus, they do it by pushing the sympathetic nervous system even harder. The problem, these medications don't correct the imbalance. They reinforce it. The child becomes reliant on artificial stimulation to function, deepening the cycle of cortisol addiction. Meanwhile, parents are caught in their own version of the same trap with caffeine, energy drinks, chronic stress acting as their daily fuel. Here's the way out. Neurologically focused chiropractic care. There's another way, one that just doesn't mask symptoms, but works to correct the root cause of the nervous system. Neurologically focused chiropractic care uses advanced technology like insight scans to measure where neurological interference and imbalance exist. These scans allow us to see how the autonomic nervous system is functioning and where the stress is stuck in the system. From there, we create a customized plan of care to gently correct subluxations, those areas of tension and misalignment that interfere with a healthy nervous system. Each adjustment is designed to restore stress from the nervous system, allowing the parasympathetic branch to activate naturally. And this helps the body shift out of that chronic fight or flight and back into a balanced system between that parasympathetic and sympathetic system. Breaking free from cortisol cycle, to heal from cortisol addiction doesn't happen with a quick fix. It takes a comprehensive root cause approach. At Cultivate, we focus in helping families naturally reset and rebalance their nervous system without relying on medications that only mask these signs. Our care begins with neurologically focused chiropractic and is supported by simple, powerful lifestyle shifts that activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Those are going to include improved sleep habits, reduced screen exposure, calming breath work, time in nature, and targeted nutritional support. What makes our care truly different, though, is the insight scans. They're going to be cutting edge technology that gives us a clear measure of how the nervous system is functioning. With that information, we're going to create that customized plan of care tailored for your family's unique needs. Many parents are surprised by how quickly change begins, reporting better focus, deeper sleep, fewer meltdowns, and reduced need for stimulants, both for their kids and themselves. If you're ready to break free from this chronic stress cycle and help your family thrive from the inside out, we really encourage you to click the link in our bio to get that consultation scheduled with our team so that we can begin to get to the root cause of the addiction to cortisol, those stress hormones pumping through the system. You don't have to stay stuck in survival mode. Let us help your family experience what true health and healing looks like from the inside out with a balanced, regulated nervous system.